We want to do like a 30-day challenge, and we weren't even watching TV that much. It's one of those things you got to put on. Then we have like family cuddles on Friday nights.
Let's go. We already have the team.
You never view yourself the way others view you.
My right calf just like felt like it tore.
Oh man.
There's too much work out there to be fighting amongst each other.
I was like, man, this is an addiction, because I was like shaking as they were trying to get me off.
I want to grow the knowledge of our industry.
Got it. And I started to realize like how beneficial it is for kids to see their parents working out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Born to Tint podcast with the Miller brothers. I'm excited to be here with my co-host, my older brother, Josh.
How's it going, everybody? It's great to be here today. Special guest today, Omar Foster with CrossFit Social City. Really fun conversation. We kind of got all over the place. A little bit of his journey into actually running his own gym. A little bit of the history of how I've known his wife since third grade. His story about being in a motorcycle wreck where he was told that he wouldn't be able to do anything physical again, and now he's a CrossFit instructor who like competes in CrossFit games and all that fun stuff. So definitely follow along in this conversation. It's really good, and make sure you actually go follow his socials, CrossFit Social City, and they've got the podcast out now on all platforms: Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Social City podcast. Check it out. The first episode just came out like 2 days ago. By the time this airs, it might be a couple weeks, but it's amazing. Check it out.
Since, like season 1 and like lockdown 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So we'll film like 10, weeks back to back to back, drop a new episode every week, and then probably take a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like regather, recoup, get some new like ideas and stuff rolling, and then see if we want to shoot, you know what I mean? Like 10 episodes again, 12 episodes, something shorter,
So you recorded Saturday?
Yeah.
And had it out Monday?
Yeah.
That's killer, man.
It looked awesome.
So Sunday, I was just kind of getting some short clips on my own, you know what I mean? And then uploading for the first time takes a little bit of time, like the YouTube into the Spotify, into the Apple and RSS feeds. And I'm like, why isn't this stuff ever easy? It's like car stuff, Like you take it to a shop and it's like, you think it was just an easy, plug and play install, but we need A, B, and C to make this work.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going through like yesterday and Monday,
That's why our biggest drive, where he had been hounding me for
Years.
I'd say at least 2 years about doing this.
Yeah.
And I always kept telling him, get it together. Tell me how much it's going to cost. What are we going to have to purchase? Because we have the room down in our shop to where we could set up our own little studio.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so figure it out how much it's going to cost. Because I know that we're going to need cameras, we need equipment, we're going to need someone to edit it. How are we going to get it up? Like, what's the game plan? Because I'm very much idea man, which absolutely have to have. I'm more of operational. At least I tend to think of myself more operational. I can have ideas, but he's got way better ideas than me constantly when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
It's actioning those ideas, and it's
For
like,
sure.
all right, how are we going to do it? I think this is great.
How do we execute?
Where are we
How do
getting-
pull the trigger? How do we get it rolling?
Where do we get the time from?
Yeah,
Dude,
totally.
we're already spread so thin right now at the shop. How are we going to do this? And then this came along to where it was like, hey,
Plug and
use my team.
Yeah.
We're getting coached through it. And then even when it comes to uploading and stuff too, like that's when we went to go upload it, like Michelle had a ton of questions where she was able to figure some of the stuff out and then called them.
Got
Hey,
it.
I'm getting this. What am I supposed to do here? And they just gave us all the information to, hey, this is how we're going to upload it. And then they started telling us, all right, this is how you want to clip your videos. You want the headers like this, short, sweet, dark background. And started giving us all.
walk you through it all.
Yeah. And that was my biggest draw to like, all right, let's
go.
Let's go. If we already have the team, like, we're partnering with a guy who already has the team. We don't need to go any further. Like I've already was consuming Pineda's content before this ever came along. I was like, he's doing something right.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's grab a hold and see how it goes.
I mean, it pops up on my feed. I'm like, dude, I'm always cheering you guys on. That's what's
awesome.
up, man. They got content coming out, of all aspects, like commercial tinting on doors and like automobile, It's like, man, that's a cool little way to spread it all out and like really show what you guys do and showcase all that,
We're trying, man. I'm always not happy with the volume. I'm like always like, man, we need to do more. We need to do more. But we've definitely improved the quantity.
Yeah.
And gotten over the fear of the quality not being the best.
I mean,
at least a little bit. We can do
you
better.
guys are
but-
doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm sure that separated you guys from where you guys were as far as, I mean, if there's any competitors, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are other people who are doing the same stuff in town. It's like, all right, like what other tent guys are doing the content that you guys are doing? Like how many shops can you guys name off the top of your head?
Oh, nationwide, quite a few.
No, I mean like locally though.
Yeah.
Locally, I wouldn't say that if anything, maybe I'm not getting that on my feed, but like when we first, the first social media, when we hired a company for Facebook to run ads on Facebook.
Got it, yeah.
Brought them in, shot some videos, started putting it on. When we first put those on, I wasn't seeing anything from any shops. And then all of a sudden, within like this past year, everyone's putting videos on Facebook now.
Got it.
Putting videos on Instagram, like realizing like at first we kind of had that niche where it was nice to kind of be on it, and now it's realizing like now everyone's okay. How do we separate ourselves even more?
Got it, for sure.
Podcast. Yeah. Let's get some long form out there to explain what the different aspects of our business can be to improve everyone's business.
Yeah.
Like there's too much work out there to be fighting amongst each other. Like we have lined up. He's just busy right now. We have another tenor. He is out of Pahrump, but he does work in Vegas. His name's Rob. He's going to be on the podcast eventually. Right now he just purchased a home, and he's like, dude, I'm booked solid for the next 2 months. I was like, dude, all good. When you're free, come on in. And we want to have other competitors on too, just because I want to grow the knowledge of our industry.
Got it.
There's so many misconceptions when it comes to our industry or bad experiences. I would almost say like even with CrossFit.
I know.
CrossFit really is a thing I think is seen in certain lights that it's people that don't understand it or they just want to criticize it.
Super niche-y, like you don't really understand until you get in. But that's a good idea. Like if we invited a couple other gym owners in, like, shoot it up, dude. Like, we're friends. Like, you guys own a gym there. It's not competitive. There's enough food on the table for everyone to eat. You know what I mean? We don't have to be, like, stingy and, like, oh, give it all to me. And it's like, no, dude, they're on your side of town. It's more convenient for them. Like, I'm not going to battle them over driving 32 minutes to get to my gym when they can get to yours in 14. Like,
and I'm sure that community's already, because you guys have CrossFit games and all that stuff. Yeah, you guys are seeing each other at local competitions and stuff already anyways.
Totally.
And I'm sure everybody actually gets
everyone's
along
high-fiving. They get along. But there's something about, like, the business side of it that people are like, oh, well, if Green Valley Tint's doing podcasts, are people going to see that and our members want to leave and go join them because they're doing something that we're not? And it's like, well, I mean, you might need to step up to the plate and start swinging then,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's grow the pie. If we influence the population of Vegas we increase 10% of the population of Vegas to understand or get the concept of what more things we can offer them, like tinting your house or security films, decorative films, say even for commercial buildings. If you have conference rooms and you want to put something up on your windows to have a little break.
Or your gym.
Wall wraps. That's another thing. Like if you want to put something on your walls and we can do that too. Like if we can increase that by 10%,
for sure.
There's going to be so much more clientele. Like it doesn't really matter how many other technical competitors, because I don't look at them as competitors. I look at them as just that we're in the industry together. Let's make our industry strong. Let's set a standard out there. Like this is what is expected in our industry to where we are combating the negative experiences. Because one negative experience can destroy that word of mouth right there.
Yeah, that's like a light bulb for me right there. That makes perfect sense. Like if we can expand the knowledge of what CrossFit is, what happens inside those gyms, it's like then it's like if you guys are tagging me, it's getting exposed to my network. If I'm tagging those other business owners, it's a collaboration. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Or exposes, to the whole Vegas community or whoever's interested, not just your niche of friends that follow you,
Yeah, that's like with like certain conventions that we go to, like even within like our manufacturers, we'll go to a manufacturers convention or a meeting to where it's a bunch of dealers from different states, and like we can sit down and we have great conversations. It's about when we get back to our city, and expand those conversations with everyone locally around us. Because if you're just going to devote your time to like, oh, you're my competitor, I'm going to put you out of business. Like, why are you putting any energy towards that?
Yeah.
Like, it's doing nothing. If anything, you're wasting your time when you could be growing other parts of your business. You're worrying about someone else's business.
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It's cool. I love that. I love that for you guys.
We're trying, man. It's really nice to have you on here, though. I've known you for quite a minute.
Yeah,
I've
man.
known your wife since third grade.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to follow along with your journey on social, talking about that we're doing good on there. I've always looked at you as like, man, we need to do more of what Omar is doing, because you're constantly recording really cool content of your gym and putting it out there. You just launched your podcast, which I couldn't stop listening to yesterday. It was like perfect timing. Like, oh, he's coming on. I got to listen to this whole thing. And
Gotcha.
it was super listenable. It was everything about it was amazing. Like I would not have known that was your first time doing it. It definitely seemed prepared. I know that you and Abby both went to the Las Vegas Academy, right?
Yep.
Do you think, just in general, putting yourself out there on social the way you do for your gym, for your car collecting, all of that stuff, do you think that kind of helped you be more outgoing and like kind of get early on social?
I think a performing arts background has a little play in that, you know, because back then we're used to like being on stage performing. There's improvisation, there's, you know, skill sets, and, you know, in school we did a ton of segments as far as theater goes. You know, there's musical theater, there's, you know, miming and clown work and, you know, feeding off each other back and forth. So I definitely feel like we have that ability to like turn it on. It's like, okay, it's game time. Let's go. So, you know, Avi's very meticulous with scheduling and admin and, you know, having the whole script prepared. So we literally were going through the script probably the night before, and we're supposed to have 2 guest hosts to come on and really facilitate the conversation so that they can ask us questions and we can kind of tell our story. And then last minute, you know, they were like, oh, I can't make it. Something came up. And Avi and I were like, oh, gosh, the first one. And I'm big on, like, if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. Like, if they were meant to be on the show, it would have happened. So let's just roll with it. She made some quick adjustments. And then once it came on, it was like, all right, game time. And I thought at first that, like, the podcast was going to be 50-50 between the two of us. And she was kind of like, it needs to be, you're the host and I'm the co-host, so you need to lead the conversation. And I'm like, Avi, you're the talker. Like, you can hold the conversation better than I can. So there's like a little bit of pressure on me to be the host. But once we started rolling, like, the conversation was just like this. Like, you're across from the table and we're just chopping it up. You know what I mean? Giving our experience, like, doing our thing, you know? We done some pretend podcasts in restaurants. We were doing dinner. We're like, all right, let's just pretend we're on a podcast. Let's, like, turn the phone on and just, like, review what is going on in this experience, you know? So we had a couple of those fun, just pretend podcasts. So that when it kicked off, we were like, all right, let's just get it popping.
I that was one part. Like, I'm happy you just said that, because that's one thing I forgot to write down when I was listening to it. I've done the same thing. I've done it out on runs. Like, I'll go out on a run, and I wish the audio was better, because it's something I wanted to actually kind of pursue, actually, like, put out there, just because it was just kind of like me talking for 2 hours about just my running journey, my races, like, and the experiences I had in those races while I was taking to my next race. But there was definitely something when you said that, I was like, I think I've done that too. Like, it does make it a little bit easier. And you guys definitely seem like you guys have been doing it for the fact that was your first one. Like, I go back, I watch our first one, and I'm just like, I just said like literally 16 times in a row. But no, it definitely, you guys definitely bounce back and forth off each other perfectly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we were nervous to do it. It's everything for the first time is nerve-wracking, you know? And I think you never view yourself the way others view you, you know? So we all have our own struggles inside our own head, our own obstacles. We get in our own way, and then in reality, it's like, dude, just fire away and figure it out as you go. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time. I mean, I feel super grateful and honored that you guys, you know, if we didn't tell you it was our first time, that you guys like, man, that was your first time, I would have never known
you guys crushed.
if you hadn't told us. So it's like we can only grow from there.
I'm excited for the rest of them. Like, I'm already like waiting for the next one.
Next one to drop. Yeah, we're stoked because, you know, I've got a rundown of like our first 8 episodes, and I want to have like some legacy members. We've got some members who've been with us for 10 plus years. I'm like, man, they're going to have some good stories of what it was like when we first started, you know, like the minimal equipment we had, the value of our gym to where it is now, and like their growth within it, just through their seasons of life, you know, because like we got a guy, Will, and then this girl, Becca, you know, they have had kids during the journey, you know, she's bounced back pre and postpartum, and I mean, that's a whole topic in itself. And then our guy, Will, has battled with like, you know, like alcohol and, you know, being in AA for a long time, and the gym has just become like a therapy place for him. Just if you don't get it in, like you guys know, like running is like that. If you don't get it in, it's like your day is a mess. And I think like some people don't understand why you guys run as much as you do or the distance that you do, and they don't understand why these guys are working out in the gym 5 or 6 days a week. They're like, I want to start with 2 days a week. And you're like, well, you don't understand. Once you get in and you get that dopamine hit from finishing your workout, that's the part, that's the rewarding part that becomes addicting. That's the part that you strive for. The in it sometimes suck. Like, it's not the greatest part when you're in it. Yeah. But when it's over, it's like, yes, I'm ready for the day. I'm fired up.
Oh, for
What's next? You know, nothing can stop me now.
Oh, this morning was my first morning. Like I finished my last race was in October, the end of October. And I still have been running, but like I hadn't picked out my next race yet. I finally have.
What was it? You long races, right?
Yeah, I did Javelina 100
Got it.
down in Phoenix.
100 miles?
Oh yeah. It was his first attempt. It was my third 100 miler. I thankfully was lucky enough to finish. I feel bad because I feel like I left him kind of high and dry because these are qualifying races to where I knew I had to finish within a certain time. And on our fourth lap.
Started the fourth lap.
We had to get out by a certain time, and I was like, hey, man, I'm going to take off for a little bit. Come catch me. Because I kind of know that he needed that a little bit. And then it got to the point where he eventually called me. He's like, man, I'm at the first aid station right now. I'm out.
Not doing that.
Like, you know, just like asking where I was at, telling him where I was at. And like timing-wise, I was even cutting it close to finishing that loop to start my next loop itself. So I kind of selfishly took off from him a little bit because I need to have that qualifying race to be able to enter into the main race I'm trying to get into.
I told you to go.
I know, but I still feel bad because you were there for my first 100 miler where I almost tapped out. Where at the same mileage that I think if I was there and I was pacing you, I could have got you to keep going. I think so.
Possibly, but I knew how important it was for you to qualify for Western again, and when I said go, so don't do that.
Yeah,
It's crazy because I'm in fitness, but you guys are speaking a whole different language right now. You know, like the 50K, like 50 milers, 100 miles. We got, people in the gym are like, oh, I'm going to do a half marathon this year. I'm training for it. And then you got people who are like, a marathon. And you guys are like, yeah, that's when we warm up at a marathon. And you guys keep going. I'd love to hear like more about what goes
what's
on.
interesting is like, you know this being in fitness, there's different intensity levels, right? So you're not doing 100 miles like you're doing a half marathon, right? You'd be done. I've run a half marathon and at the end of it been smoked and not able to walk for a week because it's like
pushing the
sub
pace.
7 minute mile, right?
Got it.
This is run, check your heart rate. If it's north of 150, you better stop and walk, and like because otherwise there's no way you're finishing. So it's a lot of run, walk, run. Depending if there's a hill you're going up, you're kind of playing it with the terrain and looking at the time that you have to finish. 24-hour 100 miles, which used to be like a huge achievement. It still is a big deal, but if you can finish 100 miles in under 24 hours on most courses, there's like an additional buckle you get. That's like a 14 something per minute, a mile, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't fast, but that is fast for 100 miles.
Got it.
So you stop at aid stations. This race was a 20-mile loop approximately. The first one was like 22, and then it was like 19 point something, the last four. There's 3 aid stations out on that loop, and then in the main start-finish area is another aid station. So every 5 to 6 miles, you're coming to another aid station where there's support, there's food, there's drinks, there's... This race was really cool because it's a Halloween weekend, so it's like they encourage people to come out in costumes, and then the middle of the loop aid station is like 10 miles in. They turn it into a party at night. There's a dance floor, a DJ, lights everywhere, a bar. Like you can get drinks for free.
Got it.
So a lot of times people will, like finishing their last loop, they'll stop there, have a drink, dance a little, and then finish their last like 10
That's
miles.
cool, man. Super cool.
Yeah, the community is amazing. I mean, being in CrossFit, the community that you've got in your gym specifically, but then even going to events, I'm sure everybody's encouraging each other.
And keeps you gassed
That's
up.
how the running community is.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not in competition with anybody out there. I'm out here for my own journey to compete if I'm going to finish or not.
Got it.
And then everybody knows that and knows how much time everybody else put into training.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's nothing but like complete support. When I tapped out at that aid station, every single person in that aid station was trying to convince me to keep going. Like this is not an option. So it's like I was like, I know I'm not going to finish this loop in time to start the next loop. I just went 66 miles. It's the furthest I've ever gone. I'm actually really happy with that. And the cot and a blanket sounds really nice right now. Like I'm going to go lay down and sleep, and I'll try again next time. So, but yeah, the community part of it's awesome. But the getting up in the morning and accomplishing a training run is such a key part of my day when I'm like in it and training consistently.
Yeah.
You feel so much better. It's just the win right at the beginning of the day. I'm like getting a morning class in. I'm sure that's what you're hearing from the people that are at your school, right? You get that morning workout in and you've won the day. Like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna, sometimes if you plan to run at night or work out at night, something happens, got something going on with a kid or whatever, something comes up, and now, dang, I didn't train that day.
For sure. We did this attendance challenge last year, and what I noticed from that is we just draw out this like elementary school board, right? Where you have everyone's names on one column and the dates on the top, and then you just put stars. You know, you see who has, the best attendance at the end of the month. And what I noticed is, because we put it in class times, we just put like the 5 a.m. people, they all go first, and then it's 6:30, 8, 9, noon, 4:30, 5:30. And it's like the stars from 5 a.m. are so much deeper and so much more consistent for that reason. Like, the only thing stopping them from getting to the gym is them.
Yeah.
Are they going to hit that snooze, or are they coming in? So like the consistency and frequency at which the 5 a.m. shows up is different from noon, 4:30, and 5:30, like you said, because so many more obstacles come up later on in the day, But if you don't get that small win under your belt right out the gate, you start to lose that momentum,
That was my biggest draw for running, is that I can roll out of my bed, put my socks on, put my shorts on, run out of my door.
Yeah.
And then I have to, if I'm doing 10 miles, I have to run 5 miles that way. And as soon as I'm at the halfway point,
you gotta turn around.
I've got no choice but go 5 more miles,
Yeah.
because that's how I'm going to get home. And that's what got me on the journey and then kept me going. And then beyond that, I was able to, thankfully, when we bought our home, when we looked for a home, I wanted an extra room because I wanted to have a gym room. I wanted to take out as many barriers as humanly possible to where there is no, well, I have to drive 20 minutes to the gym. No, I have to walk 20 feet. I just need to get up, get out of my own way, and go get that workout in. Because today was my first run back where it's like, all right, I'm gonna get back to my consistency. I've had my little break.
Yeah.
But I knew coming in today and doing this, because we had a couple lined up today, it's like, I have to run.
Yeah.
I have to run. I have to go get my mind. Even as I just went to like a 30-minute, 3-mile run, and then I lifted some weights. The mentality after that and my mental focus, it instantly reminds me. It's one thing I actually do like about taking a little time off. And then like maybe not being as clean on my diet as I need to be, but still watch myself. But as soon as I get back into it again, it's an instant reminder of like, oh, that's why I do this.
100%.
It makes everything that much easier.
Yep, I agree with you. Yeah. I think that's what's sometimes good about the holidays. People like take a little breaks. They tend to like loosen up on their nutrition. We don't see the biggest influx right away when January 1 hits, but like a couple weeks in, people start to filter in, start to get back on the train, start to gain some momentum. And then, like you said, it's just boom, boom, like you're on track, And you don't want to lose that. I was talking to Abby last night because we've been doing the cold plunges.
I'm on day 14. I was gonna bring that up.
But the cold plunge is like you get that same reward and benefit in 3 minutes of cold water than you do probably in a 30, 45-minute run, or for us, the 45-minute class in the gym. But you don't have to put that physical effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's completely
so
mental.
like this morning, like I coached at 5 a.m. So I was like, if I'm going to get it in, I got to get up at 4, and I walk downstairs, I'm looking out, and it's just like, I don't want to go out there.
Yeah.
The water is 39 degrees, the temperature is whatever, 32 degrees. This is going to suck. But if I don't get this in, I'm going to start losing momentum, and I'm big on streaks.
Yeah.
Once you start to get on like a 14-day streak, you're like, I've got all this money in the bank saved up right now, and if I miss a day, it's like that money's gonna go to waste. So I was talking to Abby, I was like, how often and how long are you gonna do this cold plunge for? Like, are you in it for 50 days, 100 days? And she's like, are you in competition with me? And I'm like, no, I just want to know, like, are you doing Monday through Saturday, take a break on Sunday? And she's kind of like, I don't know. So we're on it, and she hates the cold. If you know anything about Abby, she hates being cold. I've tried to get her out to Bryan Head to go snowboarding, and she's like, A, I don't really like snowboarding. B, I don't like the cold, so what do you expect me to do? Sit out at the lodge and just kind of watch you go up and down? And I'm like, all right, I guess we're not going snowboarding this season.
Oh, this might change that.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's crazy how adapted you get. So I actually started cold plunging like 5 years ago like before it was like a big thing. Wim Hof was like my introduction.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this will be, and I was using it with Ultra. Like, okay, I need to recover more. I'm going to do this. So I actually got a chest freezer off of like OfferUp or whatever it was at the time for like $100, siliconed all the edges, filled it with water.
Yeah.
And then you just plug it in on a timer and let it be on for like 4 hours a night, and it would keep the water at like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was actually at the time I was doing 20 minutes, and I was doing it at night. And I did it like every day for like 9 months. Wow. So like I got super lean at that point too. I was ramping my mileage up. I was definitely doing it for too long, but it definitely helped me burn a bunch of extra calories. It's the most shredded I've ever been in my whole life. I got down to like 155 and was just like shredded. Like it was crazy. But then I went to the Ultra that it was the Javelina 100. I was signed up for the 100K. I went to that race, and I had already told myself after the race, I didn't take a hot shower either for 9 months.
Yeah.
Like that whole time I was doing the cold plunging, I was only taking cold. I was
Got
like,
it.
I was insane at the time.
You were insane.
But I told myself once this race is over, I'm gonna take a hot shower finally,
Got
and
it.
and then I just fell out of it, and I stopped cold plunging altogether.
Got it.
And then I picked it back up last year at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Just freezing a bucket in that same chest freezer, which now I actually keep food in. So I started filling 5-gallon buckets up with water and putting them in there because buying ice got so expensive.
Yep.
It's like, damn, this is
Stupid
crazy.
expensive.
So I would put that in the bathtub. But then I started realizing, like a week or two into that, like I'm completely filling up the bathtub and draining it every single day. How much water am I wasting?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it became a pain. So then I actually, that same tank that I'm seeing you guys get in, like one of those
Yeah,
round
little
ones.
inflatables, yep.
Yeah, I've got one that fits in a shower that we've got downstairs.
Okay.
Like perfectly. And then I got a chiller and a filter, and I kind of set up my own ghetto chiller to
Yeah,
where,
man.
But I think I might have missed like 5 to 10 days last year total.
Yeah.
And I got my 15-year-old daughter into it too because she's running cross country. And now she's like, she does not miss a day.
Yeah.
Period. She gets up in the morning and that's like how she starts her day. But it's such a good start to the day.
Such a
man.
wild thing, right?
It's definitely a win. I injured my leg 2 days ago and I was like, finally got into really good running shape and was just bragging about how I haven't been injured in a while. Ran like 30 miles last week and was feeling all good about it. The last 2 minutes of a run, Monday morning, I out of nowhere, my right calf just like felt like it tore. Oh man! So I didn't get to run this morning, but I did cold plunge.
Yeah.
And actually, after getting out of it this morning, like a lot more of my range of motion was back. So now I think I'm gonna be doing a couple times a day.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I've got terrible knees with bad chronic arthritis, inflammation in my hip from breaking it during a motorcycle accident.
Oh,
back in
that
the
was
day.
something I actually was gonna ask you about.
And then Abby's got like rheumatoid arthritis, so inflammation in her hands and throughout her body as well. And we're noticing like some more mobility, not as tight, not as stiff during the day. So we're like, man, if it's benefiting us in multiple ways, yeah, might as well keep it up. It's one of those things where like you're like, I don't want to give it up because if I do, I'll lose that momentum and my day won't be as fired up as the rest of them were, you know?
Yeah, towards the tail end of my training block for this last race, I ordered a plunge, and it is set up in my shower right now in my gym room, and I haven't connected the chiller to it yet. Because at the time, I just was at the tail end of the training for that race where it showed up. I ordered it, took like 2 months to get to me. Finally got to me, and then right after my race, I always, with these races, I have the belt buckles that I get. I tattoo them to my leg, my one leg. It's like my little mural that I'm doing on my leg.
That's cool, man.
As soon as I got the tattoo, I'm like, well, no reason to set it up right now. I can't sit in water at the moment. And it's been sitting there for another 2 or 3 weeks. And I need to get it. Because I did plunge a couple times, bathtub, ice.
Yeah.
And like I did it consistently for like 4 or 5 days in a row. And
Yeah.
like as soon as I did that, that's what ordered. Like instantly I was online. And like he sent me a link of things like, hey, this came back into stock. I ordered it instantly because
Right away.
I felt the benefit instantly.
Yeah.
Like you get it. First 60 seconds sucks really bad. Like I've never had that kind of panic before to where your body's like, I feel like my body's just telling me like, you're going to die. What are you doing? And then you get past it and then you finally get to that 3-minute mark and you get out. As soon as you get out, you're like, oh, I feel so good right now.
For sure, man. The first time I don't know if you saw the video.
I
but
did. It was
we
so
had a little-
good.
you know, it's like a little circular tub thing. I couldn't figure out how to get comfortable, so I get in and I'm kind of squatting. And I'm just like, I'm not comfortable sitting in it. So I got like 27 seconds in. I was like, I'm out. And Abby's like, you're out? And I was like, yeah, I'm out. Then the kids get in. Like my son does a minute. My little 3-year-old girl does a minute. My little like nephew does a minute.
Dude, yeah.
And I was like, oh, dude, the kids can do it. Come on, Omar. So I got back in there and did like a minute at the end. But it was a slow buildup. I think it went from like a minute to 90 seconds. And then after the 90 second on day 3, I think I hit 3 minutes because I was doing it in front of people, like the kids and the wife. So it was a little distracting. And then when I went out there in the morning on my own at 5 and it was just calm and still, it's like, okay, this is what everyone loves, is that calm, still, cold plunge, not a hectic, chaotic, with noise and stuff everywhere distracting you.
Yeah, if someone knocks on that bathroom door while I'm in there, I'm like, go away. I typically have like a podcast or something on, and I don't have the timer where I can see it.
Got it.
And I've gotten into a habit now of doing like some box breathing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that makes the time just slip away.
Yeah.
Like if you're constantly just focused on like 5 seconds in, hold,
5 second hold,
and then like go through that cycle and like just if all I'm focused on is that, like
yeah.
the timer goes off, like really, like that was 3 minutes, like so that's helped me a lot. Lately,
That's cool,
has
man.
Been doing that.
That's cool.
But it's definitely the most amazing start to the day. I'm so impressed that you got your kids to get in. My 4-year-old has been saying, I want to do it, and every time I go to like put him in, he's like, no, I don't want to do it. Like it's like, okay, well I'm not gonna force you. But.
Yeah, probably the past year and a half been cold plunging. So we did like 75 hard probably 2 years ago. We went to like 75 hard, and then you got the phase 1, which is 30 days, and then that phase 1 they have the cold shower.
Okay.
I think it's 3 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When you start that, it's like people usually go hot, wash their bodies off, but then it's like 5 minutes of just the cold, and it's on the front, and then you like turn to the side, and you hit the back. It's twofold because you have to get in and control that water. You have to have the discipline to be like, all right, I'm just going to turn it to cold. And that's harder in the sense that the cold plunge is just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're going to get in or you're not. But getting in the shower is like, hot it is. And then you like wuss out. You're in your own head.
Yeah.
And then somewhere down the road, you're like, stop being a little wuss.
Yeah.
Turn it down. All right, cool, turn it down. So I started to get my son in on the cold shower. I was like, you want to take a cold shower, Uriah? He was like, why? I said, it makes you strong, man. Makes you feel like a man. He's like, okay, let's do it, Dad. So the first day we do it, he's like, yeah. And we're like beating on our chest in the shower. Like, yeah, feel like a man. We're flexing. I'm like, this makes you strong. It makes you resilient. And then maybe 2 days later, he's in the shower with me. We still kind of shower together from time to time. He's like, Dad, you gonna be a wuss, or you gonna take it like a man?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's
bro,
the best.
my boy is calling me out. And I tried to come up with every excuse. I was like, well, I'm washing my hair right now, and you gotta wash and rinse and do it with warm water. I can't do it with cold water. So he gets out. I'm thinking he's gonna leave me alone. He sits on the bathroom counter, and he's just waiting for me. And he's like, Dad, you done yet? You done washing your hair? You gonna take it like a man? And I'm like, dude,
that's
my
amazing.
little 6-year-old boy is calling me out right now.
That's
so
hilarious.
he's been into like cold shower, so that when the cold plunge came, he was like, yeah, I'm in, like no doubt.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's actually that's what I always recommend to people that are even thinking about doing it. Is start with the cold shower.
Yeah, baby,
and then something I learned a while
It's
back.
hard.
I haven't seen the video in a while, but when I got back into it like years ago, what's his name? The dude who Bulletproof Coffee. The guy who kind of started the whole idea of bulletproof coffee. He's even got the brand of bulletproof coffee.
I don't know, but I drink bulletproof coffee.
So, but he's like all into life hacking and
Okay,
stuff.
yeah.
And he had a video out that was showing you how to get ready for doing cold plunges. You take like a cake sheet that's like a deep, like you'd make a cake in,
Yep.
fill it with like an inch of water and put it in the freezer. And then at night before going to bed for about 2 weeks, you're going to take it out, fill it with water, let it get ice cold over 10 minutes, and then you're going to get a timer on your phone, set it, hold your breath, and put your face in.
Ah, got it.
And he says it in the video, like you're probably in under 10 seconds going to pull your face out because it burns so bad.
Got it.
But if you do that consistently night after night, you're training your nervous system to not overreact. Like, because the whole thing is you're messing with your sympathetic nervous system. You're really shocking your nervous system to have a response, right? And what's wild is I did that because I actually had a knee injury and I was trying to recover from it. And that's actually what got me into deciding to actually like, okay, we're going to do these cold plunges. I tried doing one, jumped right out in like 20 seconds. And I was like, this is impossible. I watched his video and was like, oh, I'm going to try this. So I did that for 2 weeks and all of a sudden I could hold my face in there as long as I could hold my breath, like over a minute. And I was like, okay, well now let's try it. And it made it infinitely easier. It was like the same thing as they say to do that with the cold shower. Like, turn the last 30 seconds to the minute of the shower cold, breathe it out. Anybody can do 30 seconds. Then increase it to a minute. And you're kind of prepping your nervous system to not freak out when you get into the cold plunge.
I gotcha.
And it worked for me. So
it's all cliche and everyone's cold plunging.
I know, it's wild, man.
Meanwhile, like European countries are like, we put our babies in the snow at 3 months old.
Yeah.
You guys are little wusses. You guys are paying $4K for a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Take them out in the snow.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, but it works.
No, it definitely does.
It does.
So
It definitely
All
does.
the biohacks.
So you mentioned a motorcycle ride.
Yeah.
So what's the story with that? Because I know that kind of led you into your whole journey of actually even doing fitness.
Yeah, man. So I was Air Force, stationed in Herbert Field, Florida, which is like the Panhandle, Gulf Coast area, Fort Walton Beach or whatever. I used to drag race motorcycles. So I had a 2003 Gixxer 600. I was racing at first, nothing too crazy, enough horsepower to get you down the track. And then maybe a year and a half or 2 years after having that, sold it and then upgraded to an R1, so a 1,001cc bike. Take it out to the drag strip for the first night, and I don't know what it was. I don't even know who the guy was next to me in lane 2, but as soon as the lights hit green, I just hit the gas and I was just gone, and I just had tunnel vision, and all I remember was getting to the end of the track, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, what just happened? Luckily, the week before, they had just cleared trees at the end of the track, because before that there were trees, but the week before they cleared out, so it was mostly just dirt out there. But I got to the end of the track, and I kid you not, I felt like I jumped just out of my shoes, and my shoes were just at the edge of the track, going about $155, 160 miles an hour, tumbled, probably a football field, I don't know, man, 150 feet, 200 feet or something like that. Broken wrist, broken hip, fractured vertebrae, L2 through L5, ruptured spleen, like the whole nine, just broken from head to toe, man. That was on a Friday night, and I think I woke up on like a Monday, and I had like my arm up in a sling, my leg up in a sling, staples going down my stomach, and I was just like, a handful of my motorcycle guys were there, and my mom lived in Vegas at the time. My mom was there, and I was like, dude, what happened, guys? And they're like, bro, you went off the end of the track going $160, and I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And then I was like, how did my mom get here? And my girlfriend, had been dating her for probably 2 or 3 weeks at the time. She's like, dude, I went through your phone, like called your mom, we booked her a ticket, we got her out here. And then I'm looking at the staples in my stomach. I was like, what happened to my stomach? Like, you ruptured your spleen, we had to remove it. And my reaction was, how long do I have to live? Because I didn't know what the spleen did at the time, but ideally you just need it for your immune system at a young age, and as you become an adult, necessarily need it as much, I guess. So yeah, I was in the hospital for a solid month, 2 weeks of just eating Jell-O. I went from like 185 pounds down to about $145, so lost like 45 pounds, like just skin and bones, you know? And then they started to take me off the Dilaudid, narcotics or whatever, and I was like, man, this is an addiction, because I was like shaking as they were trying to get me off narcotics, and then went into physical therapy, and doctors were all like, yeah, you'd be lucky to walk unassisted again. Like, you're gonna need cane, crutches, some sort of walker for the rest of your life. And I was like, what? That sucks. You know what I mean? Like, to be told that you can't walk unassisted again. It's like, after being like, you know, like into health and fitness and
I can't even imagine that.
I know, for sure, man. So got into physical therapy, and this was on base. They're like, hey, you can either do 3 times a week. And I'm like, maxing me out. Like, how many times can I come here? Can I come 5-6 days a week? Because if so, like, that's what I'm in for. And then probably about 6 weeks into physical therapy, started to make some like noticeable progress, and doctor's like, dude, like, you're making great progress. This is awesome. And about month 3, I think I just kicked my walker away on my own. I was like, you know, I'm tired of this, dude. I had like the walker with the hand thing from my cast on my arm, and just hobbling around from work to a restaurant to go eat. And I was like, this isn't the life I want to live. So I just kicked that walker away and started kind of like hobbling around. And about month 6 is when I was just walking kind of on my own. And I'm kind of looking at the doctors like, wait a second, you guys told me I won't be able to walk unassisted again. Like, so what is it? You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you're an anomaly. Like, we can't believe the progress you've made. We can't believe you've bounced back this great. Like, you definitely won't be able to run again. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, is this a challenge? Because I'm taking it on as that. So then that's a click for me when I realized like how amazing the human body is. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people go through similar battles where they're told by professionals, you won't be able to do this again. And it's whether or not you decide to listen to that and let that be your new mindset, or if you go against the grain and go, no, like, I'm going to give it all I got to see what's going to happen here. I'm not going to let you tell me that I'm not going to be able to run again, walk again, or whatever the case may be. So that kind of started my fitness journey, where I was like, you know what? Like, let's continue on with this. Like, physical therapy did me well. Now that I'm done with that, let me continue to hit the gym, continue to just build muscle. Let me get out there and get back to running. Let me build some confidence, and then also build confidence to jump back on a bike without being, you know what I mean, paranoid of something happen, or, you know, just like post-traumatic stress or whatever the case may be. So I had a buddy build that same bike that I crashed. He built it back up for me, and a year later I took it back to the track. And I raced just to kind of get it out, just to get those bugs out, just to know that I could do it again and just to be on it. And then a month later, I sold that bike, and I was kind of out of racing. And I got into stunt riding more than I was racing. But yeah, that's the story on my motorcycle accident, man.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah.
Abby kind of gave me some insight onto that. I kind of
Yeah.
hit her up and was like, all right, what's something that Omar like doesn't talk about a lot? And she told me
Yeah.
that. I'm like, oh my, I have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You know?
And that plays into fitness as well, especially with what we do, because I feel like, I mean, at this age, like everyone's got some sort of limitations. Everyone's got some kind of knee stuff, ankle stuff, back, hip, and they use that as a crutch. You know, it's like, I can't exercise because my knees are bad. And it's like, man, there's stuff you can do that don't require you to put the ground and pound on the knees like you think. So, like if squatting is too hard for you to do, then great, man, we can modify that to whatever it needs to be. You can literally squat to a chair and stand up. You don't have to lift the same heavy weights that you see people lifting on TV, or when you come into the gym and you see people lifting barbells. That doesn't have to be you, but you can build that up if your mind is right, you know?
Yeah, I hear the same thing with running.
Yeah.
Like, you run that far, your knees are going to be shot. Well, no, actually, there's a lot of people that just take the right steps and precautions and get out on trails, get off of asphalt and concrete.
Got it, yeah.
You're running on uneven surface, so you're not just tearing up one ligament.
Mm-hmm.
You can stop and walk. It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right to stop and walk.
It's totally all right. Every run I go on, I stop and walk multiple times because I'm tracking my heart rate and I want to go further. And the way I go further is just slow down a little bit.
Yeah, man.
No, that's definitely been the biggest, I think, push for me in ultra running. Is it's a lot of it's mental.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had a couple customers where they've either like seen on my calf. I have a checklist of different mileages. I started with half marathon, went to full marathon,
Got it.
50K, 50 miler, 100 miler. So like it sparks the conversation. I tell them I run, and I've had a couple of older gentlemen that were either served or like, oh, I used to run all the time and now I have no knees, and it's like they start telling me these things. I'm like, yeah, but technology's changed.
Mm-hmm.
How we actually operate and train is completely different.
Yes.
Can I blow my knees out? Absolutely. If I try to push myself way too hard and I'm not taking the proper rest or not training in the right zones, absolutely, I could destroy myself. Or I can be very methodical of how I train. Now with cold plunging and everything else, and it's like, no, I'm like, even with shoes, the big thing, like I can't have a shoe on that now, at least I feel like I can't, if it doesn't have a zero drop to it. If I don't have a flat foot shoe,
Got it.
my right knee starts hurting about 2 to 3 weeks into wearing
And you
the
run
shoes.
in Vivos or flat foots. Huh?
I ultras is what I run in, and then like these are my Vivos are my daily. These are my work shoes. I wear these every day, and it's made a tremendous difference in how my legs feel and how they feel. I mean, running's technically healed my legs. When he got me back into running, I've always kind of had an affinity for not ultra running, just cross country. I wanted to do it during high school, where I was the chubby kid, and also I played baseball, and I was not good enough at baseball to miss intramurals. I had to go to intramurals. Like if I did not show up every day for intramurals to show that I was dedicated, I knew I was good enough to make the team if I did that. So I always just did baseball. I wish I would have did cross country. I've always kind of liked going on longer runs, getting past like that 3 mile mark. And that's when, to me, a run, you settle into a run. And it's like I can actually like just not think of nothing, decompress, and just be free for a bit, you know? So it's getting me back on the trails is what fixed my legs. I used to have really bad shin splints in high school.
Got it.
My shins were destroyed. He got me out on the trails, and at first I started off, my calves were hurting. So I told him, hey, my calves hurt. He's like, sit back a little bit. That's when he was like diving deep. Whenever he dives into something, he goes hard into figuring out what could be the best way to do it, what at the time is the best information, to where it's like anything like cold plunging, stuff like that. I usually, if anything, I go to him for advice.
Got it.
Because I'm like, I know you've done your research. Why am I going to spend hours doing it myself? Which, I could, when I already know I can trust that you've done it.
If you're looking for the latest and greatest biohack, hit up Josh, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I try to stay up to date.
Yeah, and it got me finally, when he got me back onto the trails, it was like my shins, like after that, like after I think we did, was a 25K?
Yeah.
He got me ready for a 25K, which I probably wasn't ready for, but it got me into that mindset, like, oh, all right, this is doable. And then I wanted to do a marathon. And then from there, I did my marathon, and then that's where I fell down the rabbit hole. I saw someone running further than a marathon. I was like, I'm smoked right now. How are you still running? I want to know what that pain feels like, and just kept chasing the dragon of, I want to know what that next level of technical pain is, of how far I can push my body.
Got it.
But like running healed my body when it came down to, especially being on trails.
I love that. Yeah.
You know?
I admire you guys for the distance. I know you told me your distance before. And it's
Yeah.
just one of those things that seems so far-fetched only because you've never, like, tried. Like, I've never tried to do something super long distance-wise. Like, 5K, 10K is cool. And then this past November, we did this challenge called Rovember, where you had to try to accumulate 100,000 meters over the month.
Yeah.
Right? Which is about 3,000 meters, 3,500 meters every day. Which is about 15 or 20 minutes, which was some good endurance that I've never done before. And I was kind of just chipping away at it. I was like, okay, if I jump on and do a 3K in, I don't know what it was, 7 minutes, and then 15 minutes would take you to a 6K. And then, I started getting in my own head and thinking about the daily disciplines. I was thinking about, all right, we've done like 75 hard. We've been reading books. And you meet people who like do all the things but never apply it. I found myself in that position. And I was like, what are you doing, Omar? Like, why are you taking the easy way out? This isn't the way to go. Like, man up and like do the hard thing. So I think I was at about 39,000 meters in, and I had like 61,000 meters left. I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. Like, I'm going to try to knock this out in the next 24 hours. So I jump on the rower, I'm rowing, and I know that like if I'm on it for an hour and a half, and that's when it switched for me. Like when you were talking about you're doing it to complete it, and it's not like a full sprint. Like you can kill yourself in the half marathon, but these long distances are at a slower pace. That's what I had to switch over to on the rower. It's like, it's just time. Yep. It's not super, super strenuous. You just have to be able to maintain that pace and put in the time on the seat. So I did like an hour and a half, which was about 15,000 or 18,000 meters. And then I got home. Abby had a hair appointment. I was like, cool, she's going to be gone for at least 2 hours. We have a rower in the garage. I was like, let me jump on. The kids are playing in the front seat, and I'm just like, here, just getting after it. And I was like, oh, like, Abby and I are kind of competitive. And I was like, she's probably going to be a little upset when she finds out I've been on the rower for 2 hours. She comes home. I've got the GoPro recording because I'm like, I want to get this reaction. And she like knocks it down as she walks past me, and I'm laughing. And she comes back out, and she just, like she's puffed up right by the car. And I'm like, what, babe? She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just knocking this out. Like, we've done all these daily disciplines. Like, if there's anyone that deserves to do this and finish it first, like, it should be me. You know what I mean? Like, no one puts in the work combined that Abby and I do as far as the discipline goes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And being, like, structured to hit it every single day. So I did an hour and a half at the gym, 2 hours in the garage, and then I think I had, like, 2 hours left. I was like, once I get to the gym in the morning, that's it. Like, I'm jumping on the rower, and I'm hacking it out. Spent 2 hours in the morning, and then did 60K, which was the longest bout of endurance I've ever done. It was the equivalent of doing like 32 miles or something like that.
That's amazing.
And I was like, babe, I just did 32 miles in 24 hours. Like, I'm capable. Oh. Like, all this time I've been thinking I'm not capable of doing long distance endurance stuff. No, like, I'm capable. And after that, we had a drive up to Zion. And I was just telling her, like, I needed that. Like, I needed that win. That was a big win. And that was like a big shift for me, not only mindset, but like physical ability wise. So it's kind of in the back of my head. Like, I'm glad I'm here linking up with you guys because, like, somewhere in the back of my head is like a half marathon into a full, and then who knows from there.
That's literally the layout of how, like, I wasn't going to do ultra because he was talking about it so damn much. I was just like, shut up. Yeah. I don't want, like, I'm going to do a marathon. Leave me alone. Like, he's like, you got to do ultras. And the funny part is, as soon as I got to that ultra pace and did it, like, there was one gentleman in that race, older gentleman, probably in the 70s, and we're going up a pretty steep hill. And I wish I would have talked to him because we were right next to each other. I just didn't talk to him. And I wish I would have been like, why do you do this? Like, because I noticed that his bib he was the 50K. Mm-hmm. So we finished, like, I crossed my marathon. He grabbed his go bag and then he went back out. And I was just like, I'm done right now. How is he doing this? And he just kept slow and steady, kept it methodically, and just knocked it out and then went back out. And that, as soon as I saw that right there, I was like already looking for my first 50K, looking for a 50 miler. And then it just tumbled straight into, all right, I want to do a 100 miler. I found a prestigious 100 miler I want to get into. And then past that, the resistance is past that. I want to do Badwater. It's 138 miles in Death Valley. Yeah. Like, I want to knock that one off my list. Moab is definitely on the list. Mm-hmm. Don't know when that will happen. Like, during my first 100 miler, like leading up to it, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, next year, Moab. I got this. And then I did my first 100 miler. I was like, 5 to 6 years from now, we'll readdress this question and we'll go from there, because it's like, I thought I did train. I trained heavy for that first 100 miler. And it definitely didn't come easy, but it definitely showed me if you put the time and training into it, it's definitely doable. It's all doable.
Yeah.
But pressing out to 238 miles, that is something where I thought it would be definitely not easy, but it was like one of those things where I'll finish this 100-miler and then I'll just go knock that one out. And it's like, I need to put a little bit more time into this, just to make, if in my eyes, make that run even more enjoyable and make it to where it's that much more of an achievement.
Yeah.
To where I've gotten myself experience-wise where I need to be to really enjoy that kind of run.
Got it.
To really take it in.
Yeah, if there's anything I'm looking forward to on doing something endurance-wise, it's just like the mental growth. Like, you guys, I'm like, man, what's going on in your head? And like, how much growth have you had from, you know what I mean, the 5K, 10K, the half marathon into 100 milers? You know what I mean? Like the confidence that happens and the mental capacity to like put yourself through that threshold.
What's crazy to me is like hearing your story of the motorcycle accident and the recovery from being told you're never going to walk again. Like that sounds like way more of an achievement and crazy to me. And like as fit as you are, I see how often you're teaching classes and doing classes, and you've been doing it, 10 plus years now. You could definitely do it. Like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I think you've got the mental capacity. It's just, do you want to go do it? Do you want to put them that? And maybe your knees are an issue or whatever, but like, you're there and you've achieved more than going out and running 100 miles. Like, you were told you're never going to walk again. And
for sure.
Now you're running a CrossFit gym.
Yeah. True.
That's wild, man. Like, don't shortchange yourself on that one. Like,
I appreciate that.
I don't know. I still haven't finished 100 miles yet, so I don't even know. I'll get there. But to me, like, the journey's the actual, like, the valuable thing.
Yeah.
The training that I'm getting in every time I go for a run, especially getting to go run with my daughter. Hearing you talk about your son punking you out on, like, the cold shower. My daughter has gotten me to, keep cold plunging several times.
Yeah.
Where, like, a lot of times I leave in the morning before she's even, like, up and ready to go for school. So if I get up and I'm the first one to get in the cold plunge, I leave the towel down on the ground that we put on the ground.
Yeah.
And if, like, there's a day that I didn't do it, she'll be like, so you didn't cold plunge this morning, huh? Like, oh,
that's what we all need,
like,
man. A little bit of accountability,
Yeah. It's crazy.
It goes a long way.
So the discipline stuff, the 75 hard and all that you guys do, I know you share it on social all the time. One of the things I've seen that you're doing right now that just I love to death, and I wish my wife would be on board with doing something like it. The TV's broken.
Yeah, our TV's been broke. We started off we wanted to do like a 30-day challenge, and we weren't even watching TV that much. It's one of those things you got to put on. Then we have like family cuddles on Friday nights. But the thing was like the behavior of like, all right, guys, it's time to go to bed. No, I don't want to go to bed. Like, come on, Dad, 2 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And then you know how it is. Like, telling your kids, like, okay, cool, guys, whatever. 2 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And then it kind of carries on. That becomes, like, the new norm. And I just didn't like that behavior because I just felt like it's an addiction when, like, you, like, crave it and you can't go without it. And you want 2 more minutes and 5 more minutes. Like, nope, that's a wrap. Like, let's change something up and see what happens. So, like, let's just say the TV broke. We'll do it for 30 days and see what the shift is. If it's beneficial, great. If not, we'll turn it back on from time to time. And now, like I said, we're on day like 105. And I only know that because Netflix sends me reminders of like how long it's been since I've watched TV. It's like, it's been 89 days since you've watched something. Are you ready to watch a new episode of whatever? And I'm like, dang, Netflix, like you're on me like that? That's wild.
I've definitely never gotten that reminder.
Yeah, so it was like... the first thing we noticed was like the play between brother and sister. They started to play more because they had to. Imagination-wise, they had to get creative. They started to go outside. And as a parent, like if they're playing with water and making mud, your natural reaction is go, hey, don't get all messy back there. But then we realized like, hey, the TV's not on. So what do you expect them to do as kids? Let them get messy. Let them muddy stuff up. Just make sure we handle it how it needs to be handled. So 30 days in, we're like, what do you want to do? It's like, we'll just keep going because we're loving the behavior and we're seeing like the growth in their relationship, brother, sister. They get to use their imaginations, and kids need to be bored these days. Like they're overstimulated with everything, and it's hard to escape because like the parents are in it. Like we run a business, so you got to check your emails, you got to get on your phone, you got to do those things, and the kids are watching you. So you can't be doing this and then say, hey, get off of that screen or whatever it is, because they're going to lead by your example and your actions. You can do all the talking you want, but if you're not showing them what you want, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my kids don't eat healthy. They don't eat broccoli and veggies. And it's like, well, what's your diet and nutrition like? Like, how do you expect them to eat healthy when you bring home fast food after work? It's like, you got to lead by example, man. They're going to follow your actions more than they're going to follow your words. So, yeah, like I said, when we're like day 105 in, and we play certain movies like on our laptop, like on certain nights. Like, hey, guys, you guys did really awesome today. It's a Saturday night. During the holidays, we don't want you guys to go without and not know anything. So yeah, like on our bingo card for the holidays was Elf and another Christmas movie, and probably over the course of 100 days, they probably had 5 movies on our laptop. And then like when we go out of town and if we stay at a hotel, it's exciting for them because like, oh my gosh, the whole time the TV, sweet, you're gonna let us stay up and watch TV, and it's like, yeah, we're on vacation, guys, it's cool. But yeah, man, that's our story behind the no screens and no TV. Or no TV, that is.
Yeah, I love that. No, the struggle is real. I've got a 15-year-old, 2 13-year-olds, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Basketball team.
Yeah, but like I can come home at night and the TV will be on, the teenagers will be on their cell phones, and the little ones will be on tablets. And I'm just like, something wrong here.
Yeah.
Like,
and I tell you what, it's doing the hard thing. It's like the cold plunge. It's not the easy thing to do.
It's so convenient.
It is. It's not easy for Abby and I. Like, it requires a lot of our time and attention, and sometimes like our personal things get put on the back burner because the kids are like, Dad, like every night, it's like, Dad, can we play Dad Cage? That's just wrestling.
Yeah.
Dad Cage is wrestling. But if I tell them no, then it's like, what do I expect them to do? Yeah. Where most parents are like, hey, I just got home from a long day at work. I need some me time. Go watch that or whatever while I'm, you know what I mean? Yeah. Let that distract you while I do my own thing. So it does require more time, more effort. It's a lot more work on our end, but I think overall it's worth it in the long end for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
And being aware of, that's the thing that I know I struggle with, where like I can't even get after them sometimes because I'll come home and I'll have a video that I recorded throughout the day that I need to edit. So here I am sitting on my phone glued to it. They might be trying to get my attention and I'm like, give me 10 minutes. I got to finish this. And it's like, oh, that was probably not good.
Yeah, it's like not only do you have that, but then you have the influence of TV and music. And I think about when I was a kid, how influential music was. It's why I drive all these big body Mercedes, because they were in all the rap videos and they were in the movies growing up, And I'm like, you hear like, what's wrong with the kids these days? And it's the music. It's what they're watching. It's what they're consuming all around. It's not just you are what you eat. It's you are what you watch. You are what you listen to. And we see, it's like the music that's on the radio these days, we're like, nope, no, we don't want them listening to that because we know like the influence it can have, let alone TV, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and then you get to like YouTube. That's the other thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got this theory that if you want to, we're doing this and we've been doing more shorts on YouTube. I feel like that's the place to focus the most on for long-term branding and content because the stigma is out there in the general public that you don't want to let your kids get on social media too young. Yeah. I didn't let, my 15-year-old just finally got an Instagram. So I've been like strict on some of the stuff, but it's always been like, well, they're just on YouTube. Like I know that I use YouTube to learn and I know that what YouTube's feeding me is based off of what I've been consuming. So it's going to be a bunch of running videos or whatever. And like, that seems totally healthy and fine. So you don't hear too many people say, like, don't let your kids be on YouTube because you don't see it as another social platform. But, like, I'll look at what my 4-year-old's watching, and it's like it's nonsense most of the time that doesn't seem harmless. But I've noticed, like, he'll turn a video on, wait 4 seconds, go to the next one. Like, the attention span. And it's like, what's that doing to young people right now on their just ability to socialize or even focus and pay attention? Yeah. Like, there's probably a correlation with onset of like a lot of kids having ADHD starting in like the 80s and 90s with more people having TVs in their home and Saturday morning cartoons, which was thankfully only like 3 hours on Saturday morning. But now it's like 24-hour stimulation where it's short format or even long format that they can't even pay attention to for longer than 10 seconds. Like, how much worse is that going to get? Like, so I totally applaud what you're doing and think it's in the right direction. And the idea that, like, people are commenting on those kinds of posts, like giving you guys shit for it is crazy because it's like, That's awesome. We need more people doing stuff like that. I know that it should be done, and I can't even do it with my kids, So
Yeah, man.
I love seeing that. Like,
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, we're talking about all the biohacking. It's one of those things where, like, we're getting fed synthetic dopamine and artificial dopamine through, you know what I mean? Through engagement. And it is what it is. Like, just the day and age we live, but it's like the likes and the comments and blah, blah, blah. It's like, ooh, hit. And then when people ask, like, oh, I don't get the cold plunge. Why do you do it? And it's like, that's a dopamine hit that can't be bought.
No.
You know?
Definitely
You got to
not.
put in the
Gotta
work.
earn
You
it.
got to earn that. You know what I mean? And I tell Avi, when it comes like social media and being on whatever, your phone or whatever, it's like, man, just try to create more than you consume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, we should get to the point to where we've got episodes of podcasts out and we go back and we watch those with each other, or like we're watching them with friends. And, I usually vlog on family trips. So the kids will like jump on our YouTube page and they're like, oh, can we watch the family trip from San Diego? Like 22-minute video of us at SeaWorld or whatever. And, I let Uriah do some like Army men battles. And I'm like, hey, let's post that to YouTube, man. Like, just create more. Like you have some talents, man. You should like put those out. And the kids watch other kids and they get inspired. Like, oh, Evan Storm is doing this. And it's like, you're right, you can do that as well. I think just teaching them, boundaries and limits as far as that stuff goes is key.
No, I like the way you put that when it comes to like the cataloging almost. Pretty much, if you're creating more of the content, then they can go back and watch that content.
Yes.
How valuable is that 50, 60 years from now when they're old men and women? Like,
And they can go back and experience something that, like, we have the VHS tapes. We have family,
But they get lost.
But they get lost, so they don't get.
You don't have anything to play them on.
They don't get that too. But like, what our kids will be able to go back and look at is like, I can already go through a catalog on my phone of videos and photos I've taken of my son, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna have a pretty clear picture of kind of how you were raised and your experiences. Like, we just went to Disneyland, and like that, like I'm kind of regretting. I wish I would have. Like, I wanted to be there in the moment,
Be present,
but I kind of now wish I would have recorded a little bit more, and just like offbeat recording, not even to say paying attention, but just recording some of it, just to record some of his experiences of how he interacted with certain things.
I will tell you what makes it different is having something to record on, not your phone.
Okay.
So I take a GoPro. So we take a GoPro on the trip, and the GoPro is just for photos and videos. That's it. You know what I mean?
like
You're not
that.
going to jump on and start posting stuff or sending it. The kids don't see you on the phone. They know that GoPro is for recording video, and like, we can either watch it later that night, but it's not to be on the phone. And that's been key. I love that. I don't know if you see my video. I posted of Uriah. I gave him the GoPro one day. I was like, dude, just go record. You're going outside to hang out, ride your bike, take it outside. Dude, it is the cutest video ever. He is out. He's like, hey guys, it's such a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day outside. I just want to show you guys what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the garage. Like, I'm gonna put all my gear on, guys. Check it. I got my helmet. Blah blah blah. And he's like, I can't ride my skateboard because I lost my skateboard privileges. And losing privileges is a bummer. That's a bummer, right? And I'm just like, listen to this kid. He's riding around the neighborhood. He's got his GoPro on his little handlebar. You could hear the neighbors drive by and he like waves, and then, they're getting ready to go in. And I think he's like, hey neighbor, like, what's up? He's like, you guys like the Golden Knights? Because they had like Golden Knights, license plate.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, go Knights go. And you're always like, go Knights go. And he's like driving around, another neighbor comes by. He's like, good afternoon, neighbors. And just the way he's talking on his own, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like that was the one moment when I was like, we're doing something right here, But yeah, we're like, without your phone, I think it's different when you're recording on a camera, or get yourself a GoPro. Because the talk before we're gonna have kids, it's like, what's the appropriate age to take your kids to Disneyland? And most people were saying, you should wait until they're old enough to remember. You should wait until they're like 5 or 6. And like, we took Uriah when he was 1. I vlogged like Selah's birth, like in the hospital, and Selah loves to watch that video. She's like, Dad, can we watch the video, like my birth video? And she knows like all these little details that it's just priceless. Like when people are like, you don't remember stuff until you're 5 or 6 years old. And I'm like, well, if you create the content for them to go back and watch, they can have memories of those things from a young age. And I was just thinking of what it would be like if I could go back and watch my birth video now that I'm 39 years old, like how powerful that would be. So
I love this conversation so much because like, typically, most conversations about technology and social media nowadays, just like everything, I feel like are always in the negative light.
Got it.
And this is like the positive side of how
100%.
you can use it.
Yes.
And I feel it's like everything. There's not enough conversations about this. And one thing I've been talking about a lot lately, now that I've noticed that if I go back through my iCloud and look a couple years back, it's mostly photos and it's not very many. But like the key moments, I might have some video. Now it's like almost all video because I've realized like, why not? I've got endless storage and really high quality. Record as much as possible. So I've caught myself, I haven't like made anything out of any of it or like posted it anywhere.
Yeah.
But I know that I have it. And I've kind of been thinking about the quote from Rogan, like be the hero in your own story. And like you were just saying, how cool would it be if you go back and see yours? But I've been thinking about it like further forward. Imagine that you could go back and watch a documentary series of like your great-great-grandparents' journey. Like we're going to have that. Like that tail end of our lives and our children's entire life, their distant relatives are going to have some kind of AI app that they can plug our clouds and all the content that they've accumulated over the years of their family. And literally, instead of watching a documentary on the Kennedys, it's going to be of your family. And it's probably going to get to the point where you're on an Oculus and it's AI regenerating the scene and you're there. And it's a chat bot acting as you in your whatever age that was, and they can have a conversation.
Now you're getting way too out there.
No, I don't think it is. Have you played around with ChatGPT?
No, I'm saying though. I
think that is gonna be the technology of a generation or two from now. Like it's kind of wild.
It's definitely, like I said, one of those things. Like, I look back from my phone and like from my son's birth till now, like how many photos? Because after this conversation, I'm gonna do more videos.
There you go.
Just because I have so many photos, and it's like every single one of those photos, I'm like, oh, I remember. But like for me, I know the context of that. My son's not gonna understand it. He's just gonna see the photos himself. But recording more videos now, I'm definitely gonna get a GoPro for family trips, just because he does love watching stuff like that. He loves oddball stuff. Like I'm trying to alter his diet. Because he's on the spectrum. He has autism. So he really focuses on the certain like textures and foods he's eating right now. I got him into like not really got him into watching hunting videos, but like I talked about doing bow hunting and stuff like that, and then I got him to watch like Meat Eater, and to where he was more intrigued. Like, what are they doing? I'm like, well, they're hunting, buddy. And like actually explain to him what they're doing. Like they're going out to get their meat and all that. To where it's like trying to spark that interest. Like, here, you've had steak before. You loved steak when you did, and then you lost connection with it. Trying to get him back into that. But I know he's already told me like he wants to. Like I want to go hunting. I know eventually I'll be able to, when he gets to the appropriate age, take him on that, and maybe obviously hopefully by that point we've gotten past that point. But he is so intrigued about what's going on, and he wants to go after that. And I'm trying to use that to, here, why don't you try this? This is what. If anything, he's obsessed with campaigns. But it's like, here, let's try this, and it's slowly has opened him up little by little. That's awesome, so it's.
And I'll tell you what has added another level to like the vlogs and the videos is when we go on these trips, we have like a playlist or like a certain artist or whatever we're listening to.
See my son
like whenever we go out to the mountains or something, it's like John Mayer or like that kind of vibe that puts you in the cabin up on the mountains. And I'll use that music in the videos. So like the song will come on randomly and my little girl will be like, Dad, that's a song from San Diego. That's a song from the beach.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful thing because like how much music takes us back to a certain place in a certain time. Like their memory blows my mind. Oh yeah. They'll just hear us like we'll be at the grocery store and they'll hear a song. It's like, dude, Dad, that's a song from Zion. Like that was a song when we were climbing up the mountain. I'm like that's it. Yeah, that's the one, man. So just putting like song and soundtracks to like certain parts of your life to go back and like relive those moments. It's a beautiful thing.
That's the reason why I think the AI like simulations of your past are going to be so crazy. Because right now, I use Apple Music. Yeah, it knows what I listened to, 100%. When I listened to it, where I was at. Yeah, it's going to be able to tie all of that together, and you will literally be able to re-experience things with the exact song playing that was playing, or what were you watching on Netflix at that time. Like it's wild. Yeah. Like the amount of data we're collecting right now is insane.
Well, I just heard this the other day. I'm trying to remember where I heard it from. Is that we're in the next gold rush right now, but data is the gold. Is what's being mined right now. That is the highest value thing at the moment.
That's why I hate rewards systems and stuff now. Everywhere you go, it's like, sign up on our app, give you free points, get free food. Like we have the 7-Eleven by our gym, right? I don't have a number there. And those guys are like, why don't you have a number here? You come and you get protein shakes. And I'm like, because I don't want you guys getting all my data. Like that stuff's ridiculous. You incentivize people with free 6-piece chicken nuggets and like a pizza in order to gain all of your data. You know, like they know your every move.
Yep.
They know your habits, your spinning habits. They know what you spin, when you spin it, and then when you aren't spinning stuff on those certain items, guess what happens? You get that email that's like, "Hey man, you haven't bought Slim Jim in 2 weeks. Get this promo, buy one get 4 free." And it's like, "Oh, cool! I can't lose out on free stuff. It's not free at the end of the day."
Yeah,
that's just me.
No, I get it.
No,
That's the crazy thing. There's those huge cons to social media and technology, and then there's also the pros. But we're like in the infancy of it, right? There's no older, wiser generation to teach us how to use it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the issue we've come into in the last couple of years, where the world seems like chaos. Like even older people that would be totally respectful and have the wisdom to teach their children to look someone in the eye, shake their hands, all those kinds of things, teach those social norms, which those even seem to be slipping away.
Yeah.
There was nobody to teach even them not to get into crazy arguments in the comments of Facebook over something political or whatever.
Yeah,
and like
true.
the whole world, even the older generation that's supposed to have the wisdom, kind of lost their damn minds, especially on social media.
Yeah,
and it's
true,
like we're
true.
all just now learning how to okay, I don't have to let the algorithm feed me a bunch of nonsense if I know that it's something I don't want to consume.
Yeah.
Let's start clean. Let's only follow and interact with the things that I know I want to continue to interact with. And
Positive feedback.
I can hack my algorithm to actually give me back just stuff on running or nutrition or whatever it is. Like if I intentionally only engage with that stuff, that's what I'll get. Like what Rogan talks about, the dude who just watched puppies and all of a sudden,
Ari.
yeah.
All right,
Like if you start a new account and you just search puppies a bunch of times, that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like when I look at my 2-year-old on the freaking Amazon Fire thing he got for Christmas, which I'm not very happy about. It's all Lightning McQueen, but it's all like people's little made up videos of them playing with their Lightning McQueen.
Is it YouTube Kids or YouTube?
YouTube Kids, but it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter because YouTube itself. My son had found the app and it was on there, and that'll start feeding them knockoff cartoons, and then the content like as soon as it happened, I was monitoring because anytime he is on it, I'm watching what he's watching. I want to see what he's consuming, what's kind of driving him at the moment when he does earn his free time. But it's like regular YouTube is sending like knockoffs of Bluey and like the certain cartoons where it's all of a sudden like I'm watching, I'm like, give me that right now, I've told him like you don't go on there, which there are certain times he'll want to go on YouTube because he'll want to watch like Imagine Dragons music video or something like that. And he'll come over and he's like, is this okay? I'm like, yes, that's okay. And that's the only time he's allowed into that one is when he's searching for things. Otherwise, it's all YouTube Kids. And then same thing, I'm still watching his content. I want to see his consuming. But
even that's hard to do. A lot of people I don't think are even doing that.
Yeah. But like I'm proud sometimes where he's watching certain things where it's literally just like it's something that he is actually learning what something is.
Got it.
And he's and then like he'll pick something up and then he'll come have like a conversation with me. I'm like, huh? What? Where is this coming from? Like, and then like I'll see the content he's consuming. I'm like, damn, you are 100% paying attention to this. This means I need to be really on top of when you do have it. What are you watching? What are you drawing from this? Because you are taking everything in.
Yeah. Matthew's playing a game right now, and I couldn't figure out why. Out of nowhere, recently, Dad, let's go camping. Like, because he's been so little, and then we had another one, so we've had a baby in the house. That's the longest we haven't gone camping forever. It's been since they've been little. We haven't gone camping. And he's all of a sudden asking me to go camping. And I'm like, well, we've never taken you camping. Why are you asking me to go camping? And I see the game that he's playing is like something in the wilderness where there's bears and stuff. And then I realized also, this is actually probably a bad thing to admit, but I turned him on to at home.
Yeah, this is a bad thing to admit. I know what you're about to say.
Nature is Metal.
Yeah.
Have you seen that channel? So they've got an Instagram page and a YouTube channel and stuff. But it's people recording animals in nature, like maybe it's a lion attacking something and killing it, or an alligator snatching a gazelle, or some of it can be pretty graphic and wild, but it's animals how they actually are in nature.
Got it.
Where like if you see their videos of a bear like tearing apart a deer, like when you see a bear in nature, you're probably not going to want to go pet it. So I was like, sure. I turned it on YouTube at the house and was like, let's watch this. And he was like, all about it. Like, so now I come home and he's like, Dad, let's watch Nature is Metal. And it's like, probably I shouldn't be admitting showing a 4-year-old, but at the same time, if we do go camping and he sees a bear, he's not going to be that fool that goes and tries to take a picture with it.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So maybe a little bit older would be a better time to show it to him.
Or,
But
let alone if he sees an elk or a moose or something like that. That's something where I've used like Meat Eater with Luca is like, I like you see that like thing, you don't ever go near it. That thing will stomp you out, and like and use it to a moment to tell them like that's not like they're not cuddly little creatures you're gonna walk up to. You stay completely away because what they're gonna react, they're scared and they're gonna have reaction, and we are just big balloons filled with blood. You'll be done for, and so you can use it.
Well, I've actually already noticed that new movie that came out recently about like end of the world or whatever, where they're off outside of New York City, like in a small little vacation town, leave the world behind or whatever. It's pretty crazy, like Armageddon, end of the world type of movie that I feel like got everybody like even more fearful. But it seems like the more realistic thing that could happen. Like it's like a hack where the internet gets taken down or whatever. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But like in it, there's like little radio clips that come through about chemical plants going awry and wildlife acting strange. And the little girl like sees a bunch of like bull, elk, and deer in the backyard. And she like starts walking towards it. And Matthew was like, no! And he like runs away like, don't do that. I was like, well, watching Nature is Metal has been working.
Yeah, at least he knows.
He knows like she shouldn't be walking towards us.
Yeah,
right
for
now.
sure.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's been our experience with technology. I wish I could actually just remove the TV entirely like you've done, though. It's pretty cool to see that.
That's the next step. The next step is
is
just to get it off the wall.
Yeah.
It's just been there. Black.
Gotta take it to the
Get
shop.
off the wall.
Yeah, gotta go get it fixed. Oh, they said it couldn't be fixed.
Yeah, totally. He's asking the neighbors like, "Hey, do you have someone who fixes TVs?"
Oh, that's killer. Yeah. So running your gym, you guys have actually had your own location for how long now? And I know
the location we've been in now, we've been there since 2015, but we got started in 2010. So going on 14 years now in the fitness industry. Started off just as a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, and then launched a boot camp kind of at the same time. So just doing boot camps at the park, $10 a class. We're doing like Sundays, you know. And I told Ob, I was like, man, if I get 10 people there for $10, like it's $100 an hour. Like in 2010, I was like, that's balling, dude. Like you make $100 an hour, 1 hour, like one time, one shot. But that's kind of where I started at as far as doing my own thing. We were at the park for about 3 months until like the demand was there to do more. So then people were like, hey, can we do like another class another day? I was like, how about Sunday and Thursday? And they're like, cool. So we did Sunday mornings, 9 a.m., Thursday at like 6:30 p.m. at night. And that was like in the cold, in the summer, didn't matter. We were there. And then at about month 6, we started doing Sunday through Thursday. It's like, man, dude, this stuff is picking up. This is pretty awesome. Kind of like the direction I want to go in. And at about the year mark, we had a member who was like a Pilates instructor. She goes, hey, Omar, you guys want to come check out the studio? There's some jiu-jitsu guys there. They're kind of dickheads. We're probably going to kick them out. Would you want to come check out the space? And I was like, for sure. Like, all I need is a space because at 24 Hour Fitness, they're charging $60 a session, but the trainers get $8 to maybe $12 of that. I was like, dude, that's a crappy cut. If I could have a client with a space to train them at $25 a session, like I'll be doing good. You know what I mean? Because that's triple what I'm making at 24 Hour Fitness. So got into the studio. They were nice enough to do like a percentage of what I was making at the time since I didn't have like overhead to pay rent per se.
Sure.
So after we were there for about a year, that lease was up and they asked if I wanted to kind of continue to move with them. And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like more opportunities present themselves. Let's rock and roll. So the space that we moved into in our second location was about 2,200 square feet, almost about the same space that I'm in now. You've been to my gym.
Yeah.
If you can imagine taking my gym now and splitting it in half.
Yeah.
We had like Pilates on one side and functional fitness and CrossFit on the other. So it was kind of a good synergy because some of their ladies love to like build some strength and they would kind of come on our side, you know, every once in a while, and we would send some of our athletes to go and get like some longer muscles and do some Pilates on the reformer and stuff. So it kind of worked well back and forth. And then after about 3 years, I think the lease was up there, and that's when we moved into our current space in 2015. So we were Camp Fit Force as the boot camp, but when we got into our new space, we wanted to become like an official CrossFit affiliate, and all things that were Fit Force or CrossFit Force were already taken. So we like threw a list of names down on a paper. I think you heard the podcast, but like Dogwood was like a street I grew up on. We're like, dude, Dogwood CrossFit, that'd be cool. And then it was like Battleborn and Born and Raised, and then we did Social City. and they kicked us back the email that said like, congrats, like born and raised CrossFit is fired up and ready to go. And I was like, born and raised CrossFit doesn't like have a ring to it. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, what about the Social City one? Is that one taken or available? And they're like, Social City is available. I was like, cool, we'll take it. And I just think it just matched like the city that we're in. It's like we live in a social city.
Yeah.
It's all about networking, you know, and kind of who you know and not burning any bridges, because Vegas overall is a small city, let alone you get into like just smaller pockets and communities. You get into, I'm sure you get into the running community. Like most people know the guys who are 50 milers and 100 milers, and you get into CrossFit, everyone kind of knows each other. And it makes that community even smaller. So yeah, 2015 is when we got into that space, and you know, 2024, we're rocking and rolling. I spent a good chunk of that time kind of just figuring it out on my own, because within like CrossFit, there is no like playbook. It's not like an affiliate where it's like, hey, this is how you run the business from A to Z. It's kind of like, cool, you pay your affiliate fee, open your doors, go ahead, like do whatever you want. You've paid us our money, you can use the name as you'd like. And that's why some of the CrossFit gyms and CrossFit gets a bad rap, because of the quality of coaching and experience. And you know, like some people are just bad people. You're gonna be bad people everywhere you go. Doesn't make you.
Yeah, it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
there's
totally.
Great jiu-jitsu gyms, and then there's
Dickheads.
Totally, for sure. So that's kind of the way it works. And I would say probably the past 8 months is when I've been kind of really just diving deeper into the business. I got to a point with the kids. I was like, man, like, what do I want? Is there another chapter here? Am I gonna go in a different direction? I've been in it for 10 years. I think people hit that point, like milestones at year 5 and year 10. You're like, what's next? Are we gonna continue on? So I was kind of getting ready to kind of tie it up and see what was next. And then it was kind of like the kids for me. Abby comes and works out usually Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And like the kids get to come and see me at work. And I started to realize like how beneficial it is for kids to see their parents working out, because they view that as normal.
Yeah.
Like, yo, my dad and my mom like are hanging out with their friends and they work out every day. Like, that's cool, that's fun. I hardly ever ask Uriah or my kids to work out. I'm never like, yo, let's go to the gym and get a workout in, or come and do this with me. They'll watch the 9 a.m. do their thing, and the moment the class is over, they get up and they start setting up like bands and boxes, and like they go grab barbells, and I'm like, dude, that's so cool. They literally just watch what people were doing, and they want to recreate that because it's normal. They see that as normal every single day. And once they set it up, then I'll go over and say, hey, man, like, let's do, 5 reps here, 10 reps here, and let's run through this 2 or 3 times through, and like give them a fun little workout and make it fun and engaging. But that was kind of a turning point to where I was like, prior to where we are, not that we're like where I want to be, but I never felt like I hit like the ceiling. Like I never like blew up the gym to where I wanted it to be. And I think that's the goal now. Like we're on some good strides. We're on like a decent mentorship program that's given us a network of other gyms across the country that are sharing their secrets and stuff that they're doing that's working. Yeah. Like we talked about, like why are we being stingy with our new clientele and gaining business? Like if we all just came together, it would put more on the table for everyone.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what that group has done for me. Is people are talking about what they're doing for the new year, like
that's
what
been
people
huge
are doing
for
in
us.
February.
That's been real big for us.
And like I kind of wish I didn't wait so long.
You're still.
But then I realized I went to this mastermind in Arizona in November, and like I had a huge breakthrough where I was like, you know what? This is just gonna be part of my story. That I ran like this gym for 12 years, which for me sometimes just seems like luck. I'm like, I don't know how I made it here, but through hard work and just grit and determination, I'm here. But now this is like this year would definitely be a turning point for us. It's just gonna be a switch to where we like really just blow the roof off.
I have no doubt in my mind that that's going to be the case.
Yes.
But following along as long as I have now, I like got no doubt in my mind that you and Avi are going to be wildly successful. And I mean, you already are, right?
Thank you.
I think we got to wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Let everybody know where they can follow along with your podcast and all of your socials, because you actually went, even just on that first episode, you gave a lot of really good details on like the history of the gym and everything.
Oh, sweet. So we got our Instagram, CF Social City, and then my personal is at Old School Omar, but you catch us on YouTube, CrossFit Social City on YouTube. The Social City Podcast is the name of our podcast. Again, we just launched it off episode 1, season 1, dropping stuff weekly. We're on Spotify. You guys on Spotify?
Yeah.
I mean, like when I stuff upload to Spotify and I got like I could see it on my app on my phone, I was like, yo, made it. Spotify, baby. Apple Music, all that stuff. So yeah, Social City Podcast, check it out. I would love to have you guys come down to the gym sometime, man. Jump on a
Yeah,
workout
for
or
sure.
something,
Oh,
man. Maybe I
absolutely.
can come
We
in,
were
get some running
talking-
in with you guys, and continue to like collaborate back and forth a little bit more, man.
I've been wanting to get in there for so long, but for me, it's kind of like he was saying, the convenience factor of like putting my shoes on and going out the door.
True.
If you guys were any closer,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're just like on opposite sides
We
of
are.
town, like, and I got to get it in the morning, so it's like,
Yeah.
I could do it, but
Yeah.
I just,
There's no reason
that
every
extra
once in a
hurdle.
while, jump in on a Saturday,
Yeah.
link up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
Keep the
definitely
relationship
for
going.
sure.
Well, guys, you know how this works. Subscribe, follow along. We appreciate you, everyone coming along for the journey. Another, in my eyes, really great conversation. Every time we do one of these, it brings so much more to the table, and when it comes to like just growing my own personal knowledge and beyond that. If you guys have any comments, any topics, any people you want us to try to reach out to, comment below, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I love it. Thank you guys for the opportunity.